What's up, guys? BrunsNick's back, and we're going to talk about the age-old question, should I change balls or should I move in? That's the question. We're talking about adjustments today. We're going to talk about a scenario where you're lined up with the ball you started with during league or a tournament, and then the lanes start to transition. Is the correct move moving in with the ball that you started with, or is it changing balls and staying put? That's the question. We're going to look at that with some specto data along the way, but before we get to all that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, let's see what happens on the lanes. So we've all seen it. You start a tournament, you start league, whatever, you're striking, right? The ball you started with starts hooking a little bit sooner, starts rolling a little bit earlier. What is the move? Is it time to switch balls and stay in the same zone? Or is it time to move in and just hook around it a little bit more? What's the answer? There's no answer, so we're gonna look at both scenarios. I'm gonna start by switching balls. Obviously that ball, the hitter, strong asim, solid, meant to be a little bit smoother, read the lane a little earlier. You know, we're on fresh oil, it's starting to break down now. I'm gonna go to a zigzag in that same spot, throw a couple shots, see if I can't get back in line, and then I'm gonna move left a little bit, and I'm gonna try hitting or try throwing the hitter and go from there. So let's switch to zigzag, which is drilled the same, a little bit shinier surface, a little bit more skid flip. Will it give me the length to stay in the same spot, or is it going to hook just the same? Same result. All right. So at this point, you're scratching your head saying, okay, well, I switched balls to something cleaner and it's still hooked. That should have given me more length. Well, not always. See, the problem is when you get into a ball that's more responsive, that's exactly what it does. It responds to friction even quicker. Where the hitter has a slower response to that friction, even though it still hooked quite a bit and went through the face, that one saw it and stood up more and hooked even more. So, right off the bat, it's not looking very good for just switching balls and staying in the same spot. Now, let me try to do one extra trick and maybe keep the speed up a little bit with this ball and see if we can't get it through the front better. Just trying to give it a little bit more. Not bad. I probably missed just a little bit in, rode the oil line a little bit longer than that. So, is it an option? Sure. So what happens now if I use the hitter? See, I'm using go back to my original ball. Let's change that whole scenario. Let's move in instead of staying put. We'll see. So I think adjustment there would be 3 and 2. 3 with my feet, 2 with my eyes. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's move 3 here, move 2 there. Now we're just trying to find a little bit more oil and see if we can still get this ball to tip. All right. So that was a good move, but what did we encounter there? See, when you use these balls that are a little bit smoother and more rolly, you don't get the back end response and you don't get that ball to finish as hard. So that ball, even though it carried light mixer, didn't quite have enough guts to get back and hook. I'm gonna try one more thing. So sometimes when you move in, you know, especially if the lanes are oily, you get into more oil, you can slow your ball speed down. So let's try that. Let's see what that looks like. So yeah, I mean, you can see a little bit more oil picking up on that ball because we moved in and found some. So I'm gonna stay in the same spot. I'm gonna try to bring the speed down. See how that responds. What a break. All right, so ball speed come down a little bit, felt like. It responded pretty nice. So, you know, all indications, you know, if you want to make the move, you know, if you start seeing those kind of high hits or, you know, maybe lazy in the back or it's reading early, don't be afraid to move in. So I think that's going to be the move. I'm going to try it with the zigzag there. and stay in that same spot, same speed, everything, see what that looks like now. Or maybe you can change two things there. Maybe. No oil on here. All right. How does this ball respond in that same spot? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? That's got to be bad racks. I mean, that kind of hit, are you kidding me? So that ball had quite a bit more, it felt like, if you're looking at the Spectra numbers side by side. That one looked like it came off the spot harder, probably has a little bit more back end, and definitely, I mean, continuation was the same there. So I think when it comes down to it, bottom line is you're pretty much never going to move outside. As the lanes transition, you don't ever move right. That's never the move. You're always moving in and chasing oil, finding the friction. That's just how it is. Start with that lane graph, you know, you get the oil line and you break it down, and then you start breaking it down even more. By then it looks like a wedge because you start breaking down all that oil. So I'm going to move another 2 from that. So I think we can start moving in more, keep the speed down, just find a little more oil. Uh-oh, I missed it at the bottom. Yeah, see, that's going to be the problem, is those smoother balls. If you're not perfect with them and you miss in, the ball just doesn't have the recovery playing those open angles. Now, if I were to miss in with the zigzag, chances are I might have maybe just 2-pin. I might not have come in behind. I might have done light mixer. So what's best, in my opinion, I would say experiment. Just don't waste too many frames trying to figure it out. So if you're comfortable and you can see that ball, the one you started with, pick up harder and finish harder, then by all means stick with it. But if you find yourself struggling to get that ball back through the pins as you move in, then you're going to have to switch balls. Yes. It's just so much more responsive from in there. I mean, that's all you want really, right? So when you move in, you're looking for that ball to recover. You're looking to throw it to the same spot, pretty much same break point, maybe a little bit in, but you got all that extra hook potential on the back because it's set to respond a little bit harder on the back. Let's try that again. Now I feel like I can get a little more aggressive with it, ball speed wise. It's a little wider, yeah. See, once they start to break down out there, it really becomes a no-go zone. So once all that traffic is played out there, right around for me right now between the first and second arrow, I have to delay my ball from getting into that zone too early. That one got in there too early. So let's try to move my eyes in. Try to stay away from that zone, get there a little bit later down the lane. I'm going to try to stay aggressive though, speed-wise. Yes. Oh, too much speed. Okay. So right now we're in kind of a no man's land. What do? If I miss out, hooks too much. If I miss in, doesn't hook enough. What's the pro move? What's the idea here? Do I go back to hitter and try to see what that does? We can see. I don't think it's going to be great, but I have been surprised before. All right, real smooth, real rolly. Didn't have that kick on the back and it didn't get through the pins. So we're going to try another move. I'm going to move another 3 with the zigzag. We're going to get into complete fresh oil here. So now we're like, going to be 8 left of where we began. And we're going to see if that's enough. We ideally want to keep our tempo down. 3 more left. Keep our tempo down and get it to the dry without forcing it through the front and through the break point. Maybe. There we go. That's what we're looking for right there. Now we're back in business with that. So, in my opinion, no, you shouldn't just change to a weaker ball and stay in the same spot. I don't think that's the move. If you're lower rev rate, you could probably get away with it, but if you're higher rev rate, absolutely not. By all means, start chasing it in. You have that rev rate, move in. If you have a lower rev rate, maybe a little more high speed, you could probably get away with it. But for me, I cannot. So let's go back to the hitter, and let's try to throw that same shot. Let's see if I can get this ball to tip from that same spot, or if there really is that big of a difference between zigzag and hitter from this on that spot. That's pretty close. Okay. Both in the same zone, but you can see how they go through the pins just a little bit different. A little bit different. If you watch the replay, that ball deflects a little bit, zigzag goes through it. So let's throw one more shot. I'm going to throw zigzag and just kind of confirm that we're in the right spot, at least for now, because it's going to change again. Let's throw one more shot in that same zone and just make sure that we confirm that we're in the right spot, right ball. All day. So we worked through some of the things, some of the problems you might have seen. Hopefully this video helped you make a better decision when you encounter transition and your original ball that you started with starts to react early or just starts getting lazy on you. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions or any ideas for a future video, future scenario, please put them in the comments. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.